Keep going.
Okay, so we're going to be talking about our state cartoon character, Monument and Penn. I know that seems like an eclectic kind of group, but really, they're at this point in the lessons, that's kind of how it's going to be. There are just some kind of odd things that are out there. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into this. The Oklahoma State cartoon character is this guy named Gusty. And honestly, I should have typed his name in all caps because that is like copyrighted. Like his name in all caps is. So maybe it's good I didn't. That would be infringement, copyright infringement. We're not gonna do that kind of stuff.
We're not yelling
Anyway,
Gusty to you.
but this is Gusty. He's just this little cartoon character. Okay.
Gusties.
Yeah. In 2005, he was named the state cartoon character. He was created by meteorologist Don Woods, who would draw the character during his televised weather reports.
That's Gusty.
That's Gusty.
We do live in a gusty area.
Yes, we do. We do.
Naders and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. Oklahoma designated Gusty as the official state cartoon character, making it the first cartoon symbol for any state. So there you go.
Presidents.
That's right. There you go. We
Get
just
in line.
Yeah. Catch up.
That's right.
Other 49 states. That's because
right. That was an 05.
We got it. This is something that we were actually number one in. Not just top 10, we were number one in this.
Not just only in our hearts.
Yeah, exactly. So in 1954, Don Woods and Gusty joined KTUL TV in Tulsa. Do you remember KTUL from your days up there?
I do. I still remember my address and phone
number. I don't. Anyway, he was there for 35 years as the weatherman.
So I would have been really young whenever he was around.
Yeah. But he would draw Gusty while he was doing
his broadcast.
Yeah. In fact, okay, so he was a meteorologist, artist, instructor, author, illustrator, and he was one of the first professional meteorologists on television. Don Woods was the man who was responsible. I've got a picture of. Oh, that's the book. Let's see. There he is, right there. There's Don Woods. With a statue of Gusty. I mean, this little guy, you can still buy these little statues of him.
They look familiar. I don't know if there's something out now that looks familiar to this.
So Gusty, I guess I didn't put one of those colored pictures up, but he has like a red shirt on, and the little colored figurine things. Yeah, his eyes are kind of 3D eyes coming
looking
up
at
like
the
that.
sky.
Yeah. Anyway, so Gusty would, while Don was doing the weather forecast, he would sketch out Gusty.
Okay.
And
would they show him drawing it?
Yeah, it was all part of the broadcast.
Okay.
It was a whole thing.
Okay.
So Don also served in the US Navy and went at the National Weather Service. And his first job broadcasting the weather was in Kansas the year before he moved to the Tulsa area. But being a professional meteorologist and a member of the American Meteorological Society, that was a rarity for TV broadcasting in those days. Mm-hmm. So I don't know who was up there broadcasting or doing the weather. I mean, who were these people? Just
back then you went to the Farmer's Almanac.
Right. Made a little map and put some things, I don't know. But anyway, so when he was in Kansas, it was a job requirement for him to do some kind of little thing. I don't know if
I
they
can
were
imagine
just
they had
kind of
radars
pitching.
and things back then. So.
No, probably not. I mean, I remember when Lola Hall was up there doing the weather on Channel 9. Yeah, I had to move the sun and put the clouds up. Felt bored. I don't know what it was exactly. Anyway, so when he was working in Kansas, it was a job requirement for him to have some little thing like this. So he created someone named Windy.
Okay.
WINDY, get the wind and everything. But then in 1954, when he moved to Tulsa, he changed Windy and created Gusty. And so during the broadcast, you might see Gusty walking through flowers or in the Frady hole because the storm was coming. He might be like dripping with sweat if it was really hot. So it was always something, raking leaves.
Relevant to the forecast or the weather that was going on there.
So this book is like a collection of Gusty drawings and illustrations and things. But here's the deal. Every night, families would gather to see what he was going to draw, hoping their names would be drawn and selected to receive the original sketch.
Oh, he sent them.
Yes. So there are people all over the Tulsa areas from those days who have original Don Wood sketches of Gusty. And this said thousands of requests were left unfilled in the mailroom when he retired in 1989.
Wonder how big they were. Originals.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Napkins or scrap pieces of paper, or I wonder.
I don't know. But the Smithsonian Institution's registrar requested a Gusty. The Gilchrist Museum has Don's very first original watercolor. There are local galleries, restaurants around Tulsa. And there are just all kinds of collections of Gusty. And like I said, I showed you there is the statue of Gusty. And this little cartoon character made his way into the hearts of Oklahomans.
That's just amazing.
It is.
I like it.
I know. It's so great. And so here he says, thanks, Oklahoma. Thank you, Oklahoma legislature, for giving us Gusty.
I know, recognizing
him as our state's cartoon character. And just for helping us learn about Don Woods, who sounds like a really great, smart, and talented guy. Yeah.
Because he could have probably gone on and made money off this, but instead he was giving them to people.
Exactly. Yeah. And he, after he retired, he taught at colleges. He became even more into art.
Pioneer Art Award recipient, 93.
Yeah. Yes, he was award winning, just a very talented man. And so thank you also to Don Woods, who passed away on June 12th, 2012 at the age of 84. An Oklahoma icon.
There you go.
Gone, but we have Gusty to live on. That's exactly right.
So if you have any Gusties out there, let us know.
That'd be so cool. If anybody watching this knows of a Gusty, post a picture of it on this in the comments. That would be so awesome to see one of those.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. The Oklahoma State Monument is this fella right here, the Golden Driller.
I posed for that.
Right?
Yeah.
He's got his gloves on. But this is iconic. Actually, yes. And this is also Tulsa. You remember that he's right up there at the fairgrounds.
At Bells and the fairgrounds.
Yeah. So this is actually the third version of the Golden Driller.
Right. They've redone him a few times. He's also pictured in Tulsa King.
Oh, is he?
With Sylvester Stallone.
I started watching Tulsa King. It's pretty good.
No, they filmed the first season actually in Tulsa, but it was too hot for the cast. So now they just use stock photos.
Well, I may not watch the second season now. I really liked all the Tulsa stuff.
They still have season, pictures, and they still refer to areas. But yeah, this is one of the iconic things.
Right, in the show.
Opening credits.
So this was permanently installed in 1966. It's 76 feet tall and weighs more than 43,500 pounds. A plaque at the base reads, "The Golden Driller, a symbol of the International Petroleum Exposition, dedicated to the men of the petroleum industry who by their vision and daring have created from God's abundance a better life for mankind." It was named our state monument in 1979. It's a one-of-a-kind monument near historic Route 66 and one of the tallest freestanding statues in the United States.
Hey,
so that's a pretty cool thing.
That's right. And I know that the Tulsa Minor Baseball teams called the Drillers
Mhm.
too.
Yeah, that's true. So, the first golden driller is this guy right here. He was erected by the Mid-Continental Supply Company at the 1953 International Petroleum Exposition.
Magnifique, he said.
Yeah. Yeah. And after receiving glowing reviews, it was temporarily brought back for the 1959 trade show as well. So, well, I think this was
This one looks a little different. It's kind of art.
yeah, he is,
Did he move back in?
he's put on this is a rig.
Okay.
And see, the base of the rig is right
Okay,
here. So he's elevated way up there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so these were temporary, they were just put out there for this petroleum exposition, which was of course, held in Tulsa.
Right.
Following the show, the statue was donated, the 1959 was donated to the Tulsa County Fairgrounds Trust Authority. And then in 1979, the Golden Driller was adopted as the state monument. Okay, so he has withstood all sorts of weather.
Mm-hmm. He's had
And
different poses.
yeah, exactly. The one that we see now is hasn't changed since 1979, except for maybe a facelift or something. So the first International Petroleum Exposition, this is a little history about Tulsa and all of that. Exposition in Congress did not have a giant roughneck statue in 1923, but it helped make Tulsa famous around the world. Leading oil and gas companies were attracted to Tulsa as early as 1901, 6 years before Oklahoma even became a state. And a bigger oil field discovery arrived in 1905 on a farm south of the future oil capital. The #1 Ida Glen well, Ida Glen, that should ring a bell because that's for Glen Pool. The Glen Pool was the pool of oil,
right?
And then the town became known as Glen Pool. And it erupted a geyser of oil southeast of Tulsa. And that would forever change Tulsa and Oklahoma's history. So even though
brought to Tulsa from my dad, because he worked in the oil company.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah.
I never knew that much about Tulsa. I probably went to Tulsa just a handful of times.
He worked
as a
in
kid.
Kellyville.
Oh, okay. I've been
which
to
was
Kellyville.
outside of there,
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually went to a kind of a ranch thing with a friend of mine who worked for the Oklahoma Department of Tourism.
Mm-hmm.
There were some tourists from China who were here, and out by Kellyville was this big ranch where they could go hunt exotic animals.
Right.
And so she asked me if I wanted to ride over there with her. So I rode out there and we toured all over this ranch with these people from China who none of us could understand what the others were saying, but they were having a grand time and they stayed over and kind of went on a horseback ride and slept in tents and did all that stuff. Yeah. So that was free. That was free, guys. Okay. So, this first statue was so impressive to the expo visitors.
Sure.
Yeah. That, it was something that they believed, okay, this is going to become exactly what it became, iconic and representative of what Tulsa, whether Tulsa would still be considered that.
Right.
It just represents Tulsa's history.
Right.
And
and
ultimately Oklahoma's history as well. So they said that now, he's much more, I thought this was great. This is one of his feet. No, this is like for perspective to show you the size of the driller's boots. This is from the Tulsa Historical Society photos. Kind of a little glamour girl here on the boot. I thought that was a funny picture.
That is put.
Yeah, but here he is. And this is an even more recent picture. They painted him kind of this mustardy color now, but I'm going to guess this paint is probably a special kind of paint that can handle
Right, all the
whatever
thrown at it.
happens. And I think that, I don't think that the belt.
The belt used to say
said
mid
Mid,
or whatever it was,
what was it?
Mid-continental.
Mid-continental,
Mhm.
yeah. And so they changed that and now it says Tulsa on it.
gas companies, they change all the time, so that may not even be a.
It's
thing
kind of
anymore.
like an arena. Arenas change their names
Mhm.
depending on who decides to
Yeah.
put all the
Right.
money into it, yeah.
Mhm.
So, the current Golden Driller was originally created for Tulsa's 1966 International Petroleum Exposition. It was created by a Greek immigrant, George Greco Andronostis, an artist who had worked on the 53 statue. He was an eccentric and prolific artist who was proud of becoming a U.S. citizen through his military service in World War I, which made me remember
Yes.
that Native Americans
Mhm.
thought that would be an option for them.
Right.
If you remember our Native Americans
Mhm.
in what was that called? In the armed service or
Right,
serving,
right,
in
right.
wars. They fought in World War I. Remember the original code talkers ended World War I in like 2 weeks time.
Right.
And they thought that they would be considered US citizens because they served.
Mhm.
And this man was from Greece and
Right.
he was given citizenship because he served
Mhm.
for the US. Just a little food for thought there, y'all.
Mhm.
Just something to ponder. I find that very interesting. So Andronostis, he attended the Art Institute of Chicago, became a professor. He came to Tulsa for the first time in 1953 to help design and build an early version of the Golden Driller, who was the guy we saw first with the little, whatever he was.
The magnifique.
Yeah. Yeah. He fell in love with the city of Tulsa and later moved his wife and son from Chicago to a duplex near Riverview Elementary School just south of downtown. So the Golden Driller's right hand rests on top of an old production derrick that was moved from the oil fields of Seminole.
So that was once actually in production.
Yes,
Or in use.
which I thought, well, that's another cool thing that they decided to do.
Upcycling.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. Before it was a thing. So the statue contains 2.5 miles of rods and mesh, along with tons of plaster and concrete, which is why he weighs 43,500 pounds, right? Yeah. I mean, it's like, we have this thing we call our Christmas lady.
Mhm.
And it's a just this metal thing that you can like put shirts and stuff
T-shirts
on.
on.
Yeah. And we put wire mesh
Chicken
on
wire
her.
type thing.
And so we can hang like
Mhm.
Christmas boughs from her. But I mean, that's the same, that's what this whole guy is.
Mhm.
This whole 76-foot tall guy is mesh.
He's like a bionic man that has all these rods and artificial
We
parts.
can rebuild him.
But yeah, well,
Yeah.
you would think he'd have to be though, because all the weight he's
Oh, yeah.
carrying and holding, plus the weather that we have here and the height that he has.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, look at that. He is pretty chiseled, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Is he shirtless?
I don't know. I was trying to decide if that was some kind of, it almost looks army-like, kind of how they have those. But then you would think he's shirtless because you can see the ribs, but
all
then there's
he
no.
needs is like a little bow tie up there, and he'd be. what are those guys?
Chippendales. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
I don't
Golden Driller,
know.
you go.
You have to put the money.
Yeah, down the. I don't know. Anyway, that'd be a hilarious thing, wouldn't it?
I put a fanny pack on.
I did see a picture. I did see a picture of him with like a regular tie around his neck. And one time they put a t-shirt on him. I don't know how they made that t-shirt or got it over his helmet, but yeah. Anyway, yeah. So they do dress him up sometimes. I'm just throwing the just for a little fun. Well, put a bow tie on the guy.
Just tired of wearing the same thing.
I mean, anyway, and he was painted that color in 2011, so
to give him that golden look for the Golden Driller.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right, and now the Oklahoma State pin, okay? This was designated our official state pin in 1982. The resolution states the pin shall consist of the letters, okay, with a sky blue replica of the state of Oklahoma imposed over the letters. I love these descriptions. Inside the replica of the state of Oklahoma shall be a circular rawhide shield, American Indian shield, with the lower half of the shield fringed with pendant eagle feathers, and superimposed on the face of the shield a calumet or peace pipe, crossed at right angles by an olive branch, much like the flag of the state of Oklahoma. If you will remember our flag, Flags of Oklahoma Trail Talk.
Right.
Yes, that is what our flag looks like. So this is the Oklahoma State pin. And if you go online, I will tell you that these pins are not anywhere.
Really?
There are loads of pins
that say they're the Oklahoma pin.
about Oklahoma. And if you Google Oklahoma State pin, things with Pistol Pete start coming up first. I mean, it's not
Oklahoma State.
Yeah, it is not an easy thing to come by.
Wonder if you put in legislators
Except for this one.
Vintage.
This is a vintage Oklahoma pin. It was on eBay.
Did you look in lapel pins?
Well, I was going through
Just
all
search
kinds
that
of
was-
pins, yeah. It was
much?
on eBay. It's mine now. It's coming in the mail. I was like, you know what? I want that thing. I'm
There you
gonna
go.
buy it
There you
because
go.
I don't have one.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I don't know if people really do have them or not.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because I never really looked close. You know, you see them all the time. You know, senators and they'll have the American flag one, and some Oklahoma legislator
Yeah.
have the Oklahoma. I never actually looked to see if they have.
Yeah.
If it's this.
Yeah, I know. Now I'm gonna be checking them out. Hello, Governor.
Yes.
What's that? What's that pin you're sporting
What's that
there?
pin you're wearing?
Yeah. Anyway, and aside from the information I just shared about this pin, there is no other information available anywhere. Not who created the design, not where it was.
Or even submitted
manufactured. No, not who had the idea. Nothing. None of that is on there. So I know. I could
And
not
she
find
deep
it.
dives people. There's sometimes that I'll have to send in the life preserver for it because she will go deep.
Yeah, so if anybody knows anything more, or you can
That's
find
interesting.
anything, share it with me because I would like to know more. This was all I could find. Was
The person you found it off eBay, did they have
a
any
pin on
information?
eBay.
Did they have any description about saying it was the actual state pin?
Well, I mean, it obviously it is. It
They just looked
It's
at it
all
as a
that.
vintage.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So
Interesting.
anyway, and so there you have it, people. The Oklahoma State symbols and emblems continues, the saga continues.
That's right.
Yeah, state cartoon character monument and pin.
Who knew we had so many?
Exactly, and there are more. We're gonna cover them all. We're gonna go deep on these things, and you guys are gonna know so much about them. All of the
right.
symbols and emblems.
Symbols and emblems and
Symbols and emblems, yeah. Anyway, we are so glad you could join us today. It's really good to be back on
Yeah.
Trail Talk after being gone for a couple of weeks.
we're down to just about one a week though.
Yes, we are doing only one episode a week. So anyway, thanks for joining us today, and be sure and watch for next week's episode, and we can't wait to see you guys then. So until next time, happy trails.
Excellent.
No, we're not really frozen.
End all.
We'll get there. Well, if you guys are still watching, there's no need to.